Okay, tonight I'm talking about time signatures and essentially talking about essentially going from sort of, the normal ones to the abnormal ones. Okay, so what happens is that you can talk about odd time signatures, but you can start to get pretty out there, with different things, because what starts to go on is that when you're actually talking about now more advanced time signatures, like, the ones that Dream Theatre use and Mahavishnu Orchestra and even Jethro Tull with their Celtic side of things, with the little sneaky little 2/4 bars and the little sneaky this one and the little sneaky that one, all this sort of stuff, what starts to go on is that you start to get a sense of history, because what goes on with different things, now I'm talking about, things like, Dream Theatre and prog metal, prog rock and jazz rock, fusion, all this sort of stuff. But what can go on is it comes from a place long before then in folk music, because people in different areas of the world will dance in 5, they'll dance in 7, they'll dance in 9, sort of thing. Like in Greece you have a beat called the Sebekiko, which is in 9, and it's a little extra beat. It's in 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. How do I know about that? I'm an Aussie. I didn't get brought up in Greek, but by God, in Carlton in the 60s I had a lot of Greek friends, and they were dancing, their dads were dancing it with the grappa all day long, especially on a weekend. And there you go, the rich heritage of having people from other countries coming in a post-World War II Australia. I grew up in Carlton, Dad ran a pub, and they were all my mates, that kind of thing. I learned so much, beautiful people, and it still goes to this day. I'm teaching it to you now, that kind of thing. So what goes on is these time signatures are not abnormal to, to people of different culture. And they're certainly not abnormal. I'm just saying that as a young Frankenstein joke from 1974. Abby who? Whose brain did I put in? Abby someone. Abby who? Abby normal. But anyway, that's Marty Feldman. Sorry about that. No. What goes on is that I've got a way of trying to explain how these different time signatures work, you see. And as I was saying before, I so rudely interrupted myself, is that it goes back to folk music, right? It could be European folk music, it could be, sort of Eastern Europe, it could be into Africa, all sorts of areas, South America, all the continents. But what happens is that you had people like Stravinsky take Russian folk music, things like this. And even before him, Tchaikovsky was the first person to actually start using odd times as we know it. And he had a thing called quintuple time. And that means, instead of thinking of 5/4 or 5/8 as always 3 and 2, he just took it as 1, right? Now, an interesting way to say, instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say hippopotamus. It's a 5-syllable word. Hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. So you got... Now that's 5 in there. Now, of course, I could think of that as 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But how about if I go hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. Now, what happens is quintuple time according to Tchaikovsky. So, don't shoot me down on this. Just go to your classical music encyclopedia. But what goes on is quintuple time is where you can do the simple time like duple, triple and quadruple. So quintuple duple time is actually 10, okay, like 10/8. Quintuple triple time would be 3/5, so it's 15. We're just doing times tables here. And then quintuple quadruple time is 28, okay, 28 or whatever. So you see where this is going? This is Tchaikovsky. We're talking about 19th century Have a nookie with your gum boots on. Have a nookie with your gum boots on. That's an old army thing there. Yeah, 1812 Overture, you know, things like that. Because he used to use Russian folk songs in some of his music. Now, if we extrapolate that out from quintuple time, meaning 5, let's go back to Gina. Gina Lola Brigida, which is 7. So you could have septuplet time. So you can start with 7/8, but then duple, right? Septuplet duple is 14. Do you see? And then when you get things like septuple triple time, it's 3 7s, it's 21. Now, some of you out there are going, oh, when am I ever going to need that? Okay, but 21, that's Bill Bruford, you know, the great drummer from Yes and King Crimson. Now, here's 21. There it is there, it's 21, 3 7s, you know. Therefore, quadruple 4 times 7 is 28, you know. And now, let me tell you a little bit of history. Back in the 90s, a friend of mine up in Sydney, when I was up there examining and all that, examining drum set students up there for a week or so, I used to travel all around the place 3 times a year, all around the joint doing music exams. But that's an epoch ago now. But what happens? We went to the Sydney University, who was doing a special workshop, and this group of musicians went to Israel and found these manuscripts of Hebrew music and then also the instruments that they played them on. So they brought some of this back with complete permission between the universities and had their luthiers make up the instruments, and then they played them, and it was the most hypnotic stuff. It was brilliant stuff. And there was one there that I just sat there and I was trying to work it out, and it ended up being in 27/8. And what it was 1E and a 2E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1E and a 2E and a 1. So what happens? It was 2/4, 12/8, 2/4, 7/8. Okay, 11th century music. Somebody danced to it. Okay, so there it is. So it's not out of the, oh, I'll never need that. That's telling me to shut up. So what's going on now is that you've got an idea with this episode and with the music that I presented on the drum set on how time signatures can work and how different ones evolve. Okay, sometimes they don't come from the music, they come from the dancing steps and all that. All you have to do is go to a Greek wedding, you'll see that in spades, or a Macedonian wedding, you know, that kind of thing. You go, you know, wonderful. Anyway, there's my little thing.